Well, greetings, friends. Welcome to episode 29 of StarCraft Happy Hour. We're missing two things tonight, just in case you didn't notice, but we are missing my green screen and we're missing Furious, so it's just me and my apartment in the background. But today's show is going to be about how to play defensive. I'm going to put on a little bit of StarCraft music. Give me 1 second. There we go. Alright, so we got some StarCraft music on. Anyways, so the reason why we're talking about playing defensive is firstly because it's not a very sexy topic. It's not something that a lot of people would brag about. You know, most people are like, "Oh, I'm so aggressive," or I love playing, drops, but very few people say, I really like to play defensive. It's not very sexy. But defensive play for lower league players is extremely important. And I'm going to give you a couple reasons. We're going to jump into a 1v1 replay in a second. We're going to look at some defensive play that I did. And then we're actually going to go to a 2v2, which we don't usually touch on, but shows the power of a defensive play. One of the reasons why defensive play is really important is because lower level players tend to try to win the game very quickly. I know for myself, that's something that I do. So you get into the habit of playing 15-minute games. You either win the game in that first 15 minutes with that one timing attack, or you lose the game after that because you don't know how to transition. Deciding to play extremely defensive and go for a really long game really forces you to get used to using your hotkeys. You get used to pressing them because you're just having more action per game. And it also gets you into the habit of not just playing for that one big attack, but playing for the long-term game. Let's jump into that replay, and I'll show you guys what's going on. Okay, here we go. So we're going to hit play. Okay, so first of all, there's not really much point in introducing our players. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. But in the bottom left in the red is myself, Agamemnon. And in the top right, we have barcodes. We have barcode. Okay, so one of the important things, again, we mentioned that this is going to be a defensive game. The reason why a defensive play generally will beat a aggressive player every single time is because let's say that two armies are the exact same composition and both armies meet and both players have the same skill. The player who's defending will win the engagement every single time. Now the reason for that is because the engagement, if the defensive player has his army back in his base, which he usually does, he's going to be able to reinforce instantly, and he'll also have the advantage of things like ramps, these natural choke points that are built into the maps. So our defensive player, if his army is here and the attacker is here and the defensive player is able to reinforce, he will win the engagement every single time. So the advantage for the defensive player is that with each engagement going in his favor, he has a better chance of winning the game. So here I am scouting around with my probe. The reason I'm doing this is because you need to make sure that you're not getting cheesed, first off. So scouting really is a huge component of playing defensively. Basically, the idea is if you keep an eye on what your opponent is doing, you will always know what tech he's going for, when he's expanded, and that will give you the decision making that you need to alter your army composition back home, or to take expansions for yourself. Basically, the goal in what I would recommend in a defensive game like this, try and get your army to 200, or your supply to 200 before you attack. And then once you get to 200, go for it. The other rule that I try to follow when playing defensive is that harassment is allowed. Harassment is awesome. You know, like if you want to go do drops, or you want to do like DTs or or nukes, or like some kind of harassment, that's fine. But your main army should be back home at your natural, especially at your natural. And I will demonstrate here why that's so powerful. Again, we're going to speed it up a little bit more. We got a worker transfer going on. Meanwhile, at our opponent's base at Barcode, he's scouting with his Mothership Core. Now, he's a little bit later with his natural, as you can see. So we're going to have a bit of an income lead. And I'm warping in here, keeping my army at the main ramp of my natural. Guys, if you could please say hi in the chat to make sure it's working, that would be awesome. Okay, so our opponent Barcode is now transferred his workers. He transferred a few, and he's got his main army moving out. Once again, I do want to emphasize that this type of play, this defensive style, is very, very good for lower level players who really want to practice their hotkeys. You want to practice. Well, okay. So, sorry, I got to mention though, one of the good things that Barcode just did right there, and I kind of missed it, and right there, is he flew in phoenixes. Hallucinated phoenixes are very good for scouting. And that's something that I did not do in this replay, because I really figured that I kind of do know the Protoss matchup, and I have a pretty good idea of what my opponent is capable of. But it's highly recommended that you scout constantly. And the nice thing about playing defensive and not attacking your opponent is that if your multitasking is not that great, then just sitting at home, building up an army, and scouting, and maybe doing harassment, it's not too hard to multitask in that situation. Okay, so now here I've taken my my third expansion, doing some more scouting with my probe. It's important when you're playing a defensive game to make sure you keep an eye on how many expansions your opponent has. We got some Phoenix hallucinations scouting as well, so he knows everything that I'm up to. And I do want to mention the reason for... What's going on here? Oh. The reason for this placement. So my army is all at my natural, and you'll notice that my third has no army. Now this is the benefit of thinking about what your opponent might attack you with, and where he might attack you. This is obviously his main target, but because it seems so exposed. But the thing is, I can hold my natural with my main army. I can protect all the important tech buildings that are in my main. And with the Mothership Core, I'm able to transfer to the third if I ever need to defend it. So that's kind of a good bit of planning right there. Now my opponent Barcode is doing really, really good scouting with these Phoenix. Very, very excellent. This is something that I highly recommend. He's doing well. I've discovered that he has taken a third, and he's going to go and intercept that probe. So again, throughout this entire game, I've been able to stay ahead of him basically by a base. So my income, if we go to the income tab, my income is quite a bit higher than him, as you can see. So we're going to have an economic lead. Oh, lead. Oh boy, I did a little bit of warping. You know what? Hold on. Hold on a second. So I'm just going to pause for a second. We totally missed that, guys. We're going to rewind just a little second here. Alright, let's hit play, because let's enjoy the game too, right? Okay, ready? Here comes my warp prism. I've got 4 DTs. And let's hit play. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. DTs are in there, taking out workers. So this is what I was talking about. Harassment is fine. If you're playing defensive, play with harassment. That's absolutely fine. But keep your main army back at one of your bases. And your harassment is not meant to win the game. It's just going to give you a little bit of an edge. And you're going to go ahead and just get on out of there. Okay? But I was able to get, let's see, 11 workers. Able to kill 11 workers. So that's definitely worth the harassment. Meantime, we are still scouting to see if our opponent has expanded in other places. And we're trying to work up our saturation on our third, get our gas. And the same meantime, we have our main army back at the natural. Now, here is where the fun begins, people. We have a major attack coming from Barcode, and where do you think he's marching directly to? He's going to the most vulnerable spot that I have, and that is my third. So I'm actually going to slow this down just a little bit, and we're going to see what happens with this attack. Oops. Whoa. Okay, so my micro here is really not great. But I have the Protoss Nexus cannon. There we go, that's better. Protoss Nexus cannon, I can warp in. I can bring reinforcements. Stream should be okay. Anyways, it looks like I'm losing this battle, doesn't it? Like, it looks like our opponent here might win this. But we've got Zealot warp-ins coming. And this doesn't look too great for Agamemnon. Pulling the workers. And the Colossus are going to back off, and one goes down to the Nexus cannon, and our opponent is left with only 2 Colossus. Let's take a look at the units lost. So units killed is actually pretty easy. Pretty even, I should say. Okay, we're going to speed it up a little bit. If the stream is freezing, guys, I do apologize. Alright. Should be better now. I might have to switch streams or switch servers in a couple minutes, but we'll try this for now. Okay, so we're just going to speed this up a little bit. Because we just kind of want to get to the end. We got some more drop action going on up here. These 2 Zealots are being sent in at the same time. They're able to do quite a bit of damage. The point again being that we want to harass, but we do not want to commit our entire army to an attack until we get near the 200 mark. Also, if you're playing defensive, you want to keep your upgrades coming. Keep those upgrades up. And try and stay a base ahead of your opponent, because your economy is what's going to win the game. Constantly scouting, making sure our opponent is still on 3 bases. My third did not lose, and now I've transferred my main army to my 4th. Because again, with the recall ability from the Mothership Core, I could go just about anywhere I want. So it's good to leave your army in a place where you want it. Get these guys to work. Good job. And we're just going to wait for the next attack. We're going to wait for it to happen. We're at 199 supplies, so we are allowed to go attack now. I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but we're allowed to attack now. I did this stupid Nexus here because I thought maybe I might maybe I might move my entire army by the warp thing up there and then attack, but that's not going to happen. I'm just screwing around. Anyways, again, the point of it is to get to the end game, late game, and that's good practice for us to get used to, especially if you're a lower level player like I am. Alright, so our attacker is coming in. Stalkers and Archons at the front. Colossus running. Oh, Colossus and Void Rays. Oh, the Void Rays are on. They're not doing much at all. Terrible. Oh my goodness. Anyways, at the same time, I think I'm able to do some warp-ins. Void Rays are going to pick off the Colossus. They're not yet. More warp-in sentries. Oh, sorry, Stalkers. And we're left. Let's take a look at the Army tab. Look at the Army tab. Oh my god. 3,000 to 1,200 now. So now we've hit our 200 mark. We should be able to just go ahead and go attack. I hope. Come on, go attack. Apparently I'm doing other things. Building more Colossus, building more Stalkers. More Void Rays. Okay, here we go. Here we go. He's busy up here, taking out my stupid Nexus. And at the same time, we're going to move in. We're going to take out his third, which is the main source of his economy. His army will be marching south to try and stop this damage from happening. But Void Rays and Colossus, I think he's going to have a lot of trouble on his hands. And here comes a bit of a counter push. Now this is a pretty big amount of Stalkers, so we're actually going to retreat. We're going to head back. And we're going to reinforce with more Void Rays, it looks like, and more Immortals. Because of the Stalker count, it's good to have lots of Immortals. But again, we're not going for a quick win. Even if we could push, we're going to wait just a little bit. Try and keep our advantage. Make sure our economy is much stronger than his. Whoa. Storm's falling. Yes, I do know about the fourth base. I'll show you my cam. So that's my camera. You can see I do know about the fourth. So, anyways, and that is the game. That's a GG, well played. So that was game one. We're going to look at a 2v2 match next, where myself and Master Mike, or Agent Arenas as you may know him. Hold on, I need a little sip of my whiskey. So I'm trying to think what lessons we can learn from that last game. I'm not a very high level player, but when you're playing defensive, when you're trying to hold out for the late game, remember, if you fight on your home turf, you will have the advantage. You will be able to reinforce. You will have the ramps to choke your opponent off so that you have a bigger concave and you'll do more damage. If you can maintain your economy ahead of your opponents, then you will always have an advantage in the late game. And another advantage, again, of being in the late game is you've been playing for a long time. Your fingers are getting used to hitting those keys, to touching those buttons. And, oh, I gotta say this. Focus on touching or hitting your keys accurately. try to not make mistakes. And I know that sounds like really obvious, but when you're at my level of play, you try to do too many things at the same time. That's why this is really good, because what this does is it will force you to concentrate on your production, your hotkeys, and your scouting. So when you're not doing a whole bunch of attacking and micro, just make sure that every time you press a hotkey that it's correct, that you're not mishitting, and that you don't have to physically look at the keyboard in order to use your hotkeys. So this kind of simplifies the game a bit. You just play ultra defensive and really focus on your mechanics. So we're going to jump into game 2, which is a 2v2. Alright, let's get into the game. Alright, so I gotta quit this replay. Now, we don't really do 2v2s too much, but this is just another entertaining, good example of defensive play. Again, to anybody who's just tuning in, welcome to Happy Hour episode 29, where we examine the wonderful benefits of playing like a defensive boss. And we drink whiskey. Very nice. Alright, so bring up the production tab. Oh yeah, hold on. Okay, while this is just kind of getting started, I'm going to tell you guys something here. So I'm gold, and Mike is master. I think he might be diamond right now, I'm not sure. But we're up against a master and another gold. So this should be super even, right? Let's go check it out. Oops, oh, sorry, hit the wrong button. There we go. Alright. What the? Oh, there we go. Okay, so I have asked Mike to play extremely defensive. We're both going to play really, really defensive. Let's introduce the players to everybody. This is a 2v2, and we are going to go for Battlecruiser Colossus. Yeah! Alright. Battlecruiser Colossus, and in the bottom right, we have our blue Protoss player from Team Swag, a zombie. Oh, hold on. I'll give you zoom-ins. There we go. Oh, that was kind of screwy. There we go. A zombie. And his partner in crime, also a Protoss player, Synergy, who I believe is the master player. And in the top left, for Team MSTK, Agamemnon, your red Protoss hero. And in the top left, we have Agent Arenas, the red Terran. He's also your hero, by the way, so you should be cheering for him and for me. So Agent Arenas is going for a very fast command center. Again, one of the benefits of playing this kind of defensive style is that you can really focus on your economy and on expanding. Because you're not really so worried about a quick attack that's gonna, just end the game right then and there. You're actually focusing on your macro, on your mechanics, not making mistakes, playing a nice smooth game, all those good things. Alright, so we've got a mothership core coming up. Protoss players now are generally able to expand a lot faster because we get this quick mothership core, which gives us the Nexus cannon, and then we're able to take an expansion. Meantime, in the opponent's base, they are still only on one base each. So who knows, maybe this might be a case of a quick... It looks like we're probably going to have Blink Stalker play coming out of Synergy. So this is a good example of what happens when for example, like a one-base timing attack goes up against a very defensive player. Alright, Agamemnon, make that... There you go. There you go. So both of us have 2 bases, while our opponents are only on 1. Again, I'm going to speed it up just a little bit, doing some little proby scouting so that we know if our opponent is expanding, which they have not yet. So we can probably expect some pretty hard pressure coming out of these 2 players very, very soon. Again, guys, we are going to be playing some games after this happy hour. I'd like to invite everybody who's watching, and if you've not followed the stream, hit the follow button. And go head on over to SC2 Mistakes on YouTube and subscribe. Alright, so we got a bit of a skirmish here. Those force fields are money! Oh, yeah. Alright, so it looks like Swag, a zombie, is not going to get to do the drop that he really wanted to. And we've got another push coming in from Synergy. Our basic goal is just to keep him out of the base. This is going to be tight, though. That's a lot of Blink Stalkers. In the meantime, Synergy has taken a second, and so has his partner. But remember, the defender always has the advantage. Always. And force fields do not hold out Blink Stalkers. They really don't. They do not at all. So, we get to continue reinforcing. He's going to run out, reinforce on his own. I think force fields would hold the Blink Stalkers out if the Blink Stalkers didn't have above ground vision. But unfortunately, I think they did, so the force fields did not really help at all. Alright, so Blink Stalkers are coming in again, getting shot by the Marines. Now we have an Immortal, so that'll help with the push. Help defend against the Stalkers. More being warped in. So the force fields would have to be at the bottom of the ramp in order to stop the Blink Stalkers from getting up into your main or into your base. Okay, let's speed this up a little bit. Or perhaps they'd work in the middle, not sure. Alright. More attacks coming from the Blink Stalkers. More stupid force fields. But it doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't really matter. We're not going to give chase. We're not going to engage. And he actually... You'll notice this, that this is the master player now. He realizes that he's just banging his head against the wall and he's going to have to retreat. So let's take a look at the income tab. Income's pretty... Income's pretty even. But we're just going to try and make sure that all the battles that happen on our turf, on our side of the map. And it should always go in our direction, hopefully, you know, unless we screw something up. But let's see what happens. We're going to speed up a little bit more. More Immortals and Stalkers now. So tech switch a little bit from there. Agent Arenas is now going straight for his battle cruisers, which is absolutely wonderful, and they're working on knocking down the rocks. Oh, the rocks are knocked down, and the gold has been claimed by Agent Arenas. Meantime, the gold is now being laid down by Synergy. Colossus are in production. And our opponents are grouping up in the middle of the map. So we really want to look for when this attack happens. Again, it's going to happen on our terms because we're not moving out. Here it comes. Our opponent's blinking up onto the main. Sorry about that. But as you can see, the opponent is easily pushed back with horrible micro from myself. And again, the defensive play is what is pushing back the opponent. It's what's causing the win. So we've got another relatively big attack coming. Lots of Zealots, Stalkers, and Archons. But Agamemnon and Agent Arenas is holding tight. Now 2v1, this is a 2v2, but what we've seen so far is that our opponents are not working together. So Synergy here is a zombie attacked all by himself. Synergy has been attacking all by himself, but that last engagement did not use any of Agent Arena's battle cruisers at all. They're all over here, so it's not entirely one-sided, but our opponents definitely could be working together better. That's for sure. But let's take a look at the units lost. Oop. Wait, what's going on here? Control R. Control R? Wait a second. What the heck? Where's okay, for some reason I can't do units lost. Oh well. Okay, so we have Synergy massing up his army, and at the same time we have a zombie bringing in his. So it looks like we're going to have a full engagement with lots of gateway units. Man, I don't even remember what happens here. I'm really looking forward to this. Same time, we are massing up at our natural. And I hope you guys can see the same kind of theme between this game and the last. Gotta say, I'm not really sure why the battle cruisers are all up here. But I think Agent Arenas is just trying to keep them unscouted, maybe? I don't know. I'm not really sure. Anyways, we have a massive, massive army. We got a Scout Zealot going in. We have a massive army collecting in the center of the map, getting ready to attack. Our opponents have taken another Nexus outside of their home base. 2, I should say. Still this massive army. This looks a lot bigger than what we have. I could be wrong, but it looks a lot bigger. Oh boy. Alright, so this is where an unfortunate decision comes to bear. Because I've hit the 200 mark, or close to it, we are going to head out. We're going to attack this expansion, but at the exact same time, the opponents are moving in to attack the natural, so we do have to pull back, caught a little out of position. So we'll see what happens here. Storms are going down, landing on the Colossus. Colossus still doing lots of damage. Feedback on the battle cruisers. However, look at the way their army completely melted. That's the power of the defensive play. And I'm not saying that's a good thing if you're like a master level player or a diamond or anything, but for lower level players like myself, it is good to get used to playing a nice long game, because every battle that you encounter on your home turf is going to be to your advantage as long as you've been scouting your opponent adequately and making the right decisions. So at the same time, we've got my Colossus running into the opponent's base, Agent Arenas, battle cruisers, cleaning everything up, lots of pew pew pew, battle cruisers versus stalkers. I do lose one Colossus, but there are more on the way. And these battle cruisers are going to be able to handle just about anything between the Yamato cannon, but they do have to be careful of these High Templar with the feedback. Oh my goodness, those feedbacks are amazing. Agent Arenas is bringing in mules to repair. More Colossus continuing to attack. Sentries, just because that's all I could afford. And the attack continues. Stalkers versus battle cruisers. Scan to pick up the observer. Oh, Yamato Cannon's knocking out the stalkers. Boy, I love the zoom out view. I just love it. Alright, so Battlecruiser Colossus cleaning up, doing tons of damage. In the meantime, Agent Arenas has been able to take out the expansion with a couple more battlecruisers. Oh my goodness, fast forward selecta. Guys, after happy hour today, I'm going to play a video for you that Untidy Intent just reminded me of. You're going to love it. I guarantee it. Sentries providing, I'm not really sure if, what do you call it? Guardian Shield, yeah. Guardian Shield is protecting the battle cruisers. And we were victorious! We won. Yay! So guys, just to wrap everything up into a tidy little bow, why should you play defensive? The answer is, if you're a relatively low level player like myself, I'm gold, and you want to practice your hotkeys, you want to practice your macro, you want to practice your economy properly, your spending, you want to practice your hotkeys and your control groups. Don't play to win in the first 10 minutes of the game. Don't just go attack and hope that you're going to win, because even if you do win, you're going to get into the habit of finishing your games within the first 15 minutes. And when a game goes beyond that amount of time, you're going to feel lost. You're not going to know what to do. If you play defensive and you scout really well and make good decisions, then any time that you're attacked by your opponent, you will gain an advantage, especially if you're able to keep your economy ahead of your opponent. I think that's it for StarCraft Happy Hour. Episode 29, How to Play Defensive. Thanks for showing up, guys. Stick around after the show because I have a wicked video to show you that was just reminded, that I was reminded by Untidy Intent of, if I can find it. And I'd like to encourage anybody who's just tuning in and who has not already done so to please click that follow button on the Noob Gaming Pro Twitch. And go check out SC2 Mistakes on YouTube and follow. And if you want to win some cool prizes and you're sick of laddering and getting absolutely nothing for it, go to Team Liquid, defensiveft.net. Type in EQ Cup. EQ Cup. And go register to play in the free league, man. You could get Steel Series mouse, Wings of Liberty Collector's Edition, lots of wicked keycaps from Signature Plastics, pro packs from drop.sc, tons of cool stuff, man. You guys are going to love it, and I hope you join and participate. I'm going to play the outro video, and then stick around afterwards. We're going to watch something really funny, and we're going to play some games in StarCraft and have a good time together, guys. Thanks for coming out. I'm Agamemnon. You guys are the best. As soon as I can find the video, I'll play it. Well. Oh, and I got to turn off my music. Okay, guys. Thanks for coming out to episode 29.